The SEC continues to lose big, and just recently we got a very big update regarding a substantial case that the SEC was going after, but now they are looking to drop it. This is very interesting. We're going to be talking about it. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. And don't forget to follow me on all social platforms down in the description below. And definitely join the free Discord if you guys want to absolutely dominate these crypto cycles and get extremely wealthy. Now, with that being said, let's dive on in. So going back to August 30th, there was a complete breakdown of all the SEC losses. This is shortly right after we got XRP is not a security in July of 2023. And if we actually look at this, right, we can see why it matters. The regulated community is liable to smell blood in the water. Companies settle when they believe they will lose in court or that the price of the fight will be too high. But every loss for the SEC makes it less likely the next company it goes after will settle. Now, if we take a look at this, one, there was the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust around the ETF. Then there was the XRP case, followed by a few other ones. Listen, as we really look at what's going on here, the SEC has been losing the fight against crypto. They're obviously still weaponized against crypto, but they have been losing big. And even more recently, we have over here from June 25th, absolute nonsense coming from Gary Gensler today, and the slander about all crypto executives going to jail from the man who completely missed FTX and actually cozied up to SBF and wasn't even invited to the DOJ announcement about Binance. If he was really working for the American people, as he says, he would have been fired a long time ago. Gensler will cause Biden to lose the election. Now, we know since this post back in June, a lot has changed. And if you guys do remember this video clip, I'm going to play. It's 20 seconds long. Listen closely.
This is a field that the leading lights from a couple years ago are either in jail, about to go to jail, or waiting extradition. Think about it. This is that field. That's the field right now where the public has really been harmed. And there's significant non-compliance in the field.
So there we have it, right? And you know what's funny about this is that Gary Gensler and the SEC, since the time that they launched this attack against crypto, they have given zero clarity, zero transparency at all. The only person that was able to step into the SEC and get any type of guidance was SBF. We always wanted to see what the SEC was talking to SBF about. We wanted to see those subpoenas against Gary Gensler from Congress. None of that actually happened, but we want to know because it's very, very interesting on what was actually being said and why FTX got the free pass. Now, building on top of this, more recently, I'm sure that you all are aware, right? Trump was pledging to fire Gary Gensler and hire people who love crypto. Now, I love this, okay? I told you guys about why it's very important to focus on the fact that we need a new agency, not the SEC. We don't need an SEC. I don't care if Gary Gensler is in the SEC. I care about an entire new agency coming into this space and actually regulating this space. Because what we need is not TradFi guys saying what is right and what is wrong about crypto. We need crypto guys and TradFi guys in the same room talking to each other about what we need for this space. I think really kind of, eliminating crypto CEOs and executives that actually know this space from the inside out, really kind of separating them from the regulatory side of things, I think is ridiculous. Now, yes, there has been frameworks written. There's been, some guidelines around like what we need for crypto. For an example, the FSB allowed Ripple to comment on regulatory frameworks and things like that. But we need a legit new agency that is comprised of TradFi and Web3 executives, CEOs, and even, the regulatory bodies that can help guide this industry in the right direction. Right now, as we really look at the SEC, they have failed miserably. And the reason why is because they're trying to apply TradFi law to an industry that is extremely early. It's still in the process of really kind of growing. It's a $2 trillion industry, $3 trillion at the all-time highs. So think about how small crypto really is on the grand scheme of things. Now, more recently, there was a lot of discussions around, if we could see a president removing the SEC chair. Now, this was a video clip about how Gary was getting questioned about FTX from Congress. Listen closely to this.
FTX, did you have any concerns with the company or question if they were breaking any securities laws or harming investors?
And I had general concern about the field.
So with those concerns, did you direct your staff to look into FTX?
I want to stay at a little bit higher level, but I directed the staff to look to a wide range of crypto intermediaries. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what do they find?
And then this is where we have U.S. lawmaker claims SEC Chair Gary Gensler was trying to help FTX obtain regulatory monopoly over crypto. Then also over here, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler met with head of FTX months before collapse. Like, this is the problem with the SEC currently. They are a corrupt agency. They're not trying to push anything forward. It's just ridiculous. Now, building on top of this, we have over here, and this is from Jay Clayton, the previous chair of the SEC, the one that actually brought on the XRP lawsuit. The president can take away the chairmanship of an SEC chair, but he would remain commissioner. And this is from Jay Clayton on the possible options for an SEC chair in the context of a change of administration. The chair typically switches when there's a switch in administration. Knowing that the administration would change, the SEC chair can leave and move on. Now, I just want to really quick go back over here, which was, Trump pledges to fire Gary Gensler. He's still slated to serve until 2026, which means he could still serve as the chair until 2026. He doesn't have to leave. He doesn't have to do anything like that, but he can take away the chairmanship of an SEC chair. He can't fire him fully. He could still be in the SEC. He could still make decisions around the SEC, but he would lose the chairmanship.
The way in which the SEC chair himself has become such a political football means what exactly? Do you think he would ever feel pressure to resign if the administration changed or anything like that?
Well, Kelly, nice to be with you. And there was a technical discussion of the chair of the SEC and the body of the SEC with the commissioners, and it was exactly right. And that is that while commissioners are appointed for a term, the chair is generally designated by the president. And the chair typically switches when there's a switch in administration. And in some cases, in fact, in the case of my tenure and in the case of my predecessor, knowing that there was a switch in administration and knowing that the chair would change, the existing chair, the current chair, takes their leave and moves on. So, look, this is entirely up to Chair Gensler as to what he would want to do in that event. But there's precedent for leaving the position altogether or simply leaving the position as chair.
And just to clarify on that, can the president take away the chairmanship and just have some?
Correct.
I
That
see.
is correct.
So maybe he remains commissioner, but not the chair.
Correct, Kelly.
Interesting.
So there you guys have it, right? He would still remain commissioner, just not the chair. So he would still be able to make decisions, still push around, the SEC a little bit. This is how I foresee this happening. Gary Gensler steps down because the Democrats, even Gary Gensler, they don't want Trump to be right. If Trump does get in, of course, right? And the reason why I say this is because look at the recent announcement around the $2 billion worth of Bitcoin that the US government was moving around simply because Trump said he would make Bitcoin a strategic reserve asset. Like, it's comical on this little game that's being played between the Dems and even the Republicans. But at the end of the day, I do believe that Gary Gensler, his time is nearly up. If Trump does get in, I do think that his time is up. But the number one thing that I'm focused on is what Gary Gensler is doing. And I feel as though he's accepting defeat. This recent loss is a very substantial one. We have the SEC Gov maybe dropping its charges against so-called third-party tokens such as Solana, Matic, and others, which have been part of its case against Binance, according to a court filing early Tuesday morning. Now, I foresee this actually going through, and the reason why I say that is because as we really look at what the SEC is pushing, this is not a good argument for them. It's not going to end well for them. And I think that they understand this as well. Even over here, we have SEC intends to amend complaint against third-party tokens like Solana in Binance case. Third-party tokens are digital assets alleged to be unregistered securities by the SEC that were issued by various companies not named Binance. And remember, right, like as we really look at all of these losses, you know, this gives ammunition to all of these projects, all of these token companies. Like if we really look at this, Solana, they could easily argue, hey, you know, Sol is not... it's not a security. Just go back to the XRP case, for an example. Like they could reference these cases significantly and easily make the argument. So as we really look at what's going on here, I am not too concerned at all when it comes to the SEC. These major cases that they're trying to bring on, trying to win just to add to their, you know, list of wins, it's not going to end well for them. It's really not. Especially when we look at some of these tokens that are being mentioned, like Algorand. Algorand is one of the most compliant projects in the space. So it's just funny to me that, you know, as we really look at the past, the SEC, the past is catching up to Gary Gensler and the SEC. Why? Because they're not winning any of these cases. These cases are almost non-winnable for them at this point because of the losses that have been, you know, just lining up for them. Now, outside of this, right? Recently, Brad Garlinghouse was at Brainstorm Tech, and this is with Fortune magazine. He's shocked that crypto has become a partisan issue. Why would we have Republican versus Democrat dynamic around innovation? Check this out.
Look, I'm going to start by saying it's shocking to me as a kid who grew up in Kansas that somehow a technology like this has become a partisan issue. Why would we have a Republican versus Democrat dynamic around innovation? Like, we should want technology that reduces cost, improves efficiency. The fact that this became partisan, I think really, the patient zero on that is Elizabeth Warren, who uses as a campaign talking point that all crypto is used for bad acts and et cetera, which is absolutely provably not the case. But now you have, you know, in a somewhat crazy way, a dynamic where the Republicans are pro-crypto and a bunch of Democrats are anti-crypto. I'll give credit to a Fortune reporter who's one of the first people I saw tweet out, this is JJR, Jeff John Roberts, tweeted out that, you know, Biden will gain 0 votes for being anti-crypto and Trump will gain tens of thousands, I don't know what he said exactly, but many votes for being pro-crypto. I agree with that tweet. And it makes no sense to me. And there are leading Democrats who I think are trying to solve this and leading in. I was at a crypto roundtable in Washington, D.C., led by a California rep named Ro Khanna, Mark Cuban. It was about 25 people. Anita Dunn, in a personal capacity, who works directly for Joe Biden, was in the group, as was Mark Cuban, the senator from New York, Gillibrand. So look, I think there's some leading Democrats recognizing that maybe got this wrong. I was sitting next to a different representative, I'll leave unnamed, who said that he was there largely to do a mea culpa. He's like, I got this wrong, and I had looked at this the wrong way. And I do think it's because people believe the bullshit. They have people espousing things that just are plainly not true, and they believe it, and they have to learn for themselves how crypto is really being used, how there's a lot of very good actors in this space that are trying to follow the rules of the road, and we've been asking for 5 years, give us clear rules of the road. And so I'm hopeful that eventually this will become a nonpartisan issue, but right now it is partisan, and I think the Republicans are playing chess where the Democrats are playing checkers.
Right. So there you guys have it. And, you know, this is crazy to me as well. Like, why is innovation now being utilized as a political weapon, essentially? Like, this is not a game of, oh, let's see if they're right or wrong, or let's just play, you know, this game of holding an industry that is going to become massive, going to become a very large, aspect of the financial system. Let's hold this industry hostage. Let's bully these companies, and let's, push them into these lawsuits where they have to pay out a massive amount of money. Like the SEC demanding $2 billion from Ripple, that was just ridiculous. Let's just be honest here. So as we really look at what's going on here, yeah, I really do think that the US needs to really push forward. Like, this is now the time. It's not the time to be dragging our feet. We need to see major change. I've always said it, right? As we look at Gary Gensler and the SEC, this is an agency that cannot be in charge of roles around the space. We need a new agency. I love the fact that Trump is saying this. Is it going to, be realized in? Is it going to actually happen? Is Trump actually going to win? We have no idea. But I have been saying this since day one that we need a new agency. Everyone has been looking at Congress. Everyone has been looking at the CFTC. I have been looking at a completely new agency that has been comprised of regulatory body players, right? Like major players from regulatory bodies like the FSB, for an example, or any, other major regulatory body. And then you also have Web3 pioneers. Mixing those two, it's amazing to push for roles that are actually going to help this industry, because now you have two sides of the story that can actually help write it. This is why I focus on a new agency, not the old agency. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.